Hi everyone, it's Vanessa again. So I'm going to share with you on how to calculate your calories. So I know a lot of you are a little bit overwhelmed on what to actually do. So I've managed to get one of our lovely members nutrition information here. So I wanted to share with you on how you can play around with what's been recommended through your scan to suit what you actually need every day. So you can play around with the macros, like playing around with your protein, your carbohydrate, and your fat. So if your scan showed that you sort of had really high fat levels, you might want to reduce the amount of fat in your diet. If you're really trying to build muscle, you might want to have 35% protein and then maybe 30% fat. So you can play around with this, but this is a member whose total calories per day is 1,270. So this is in between 1,270 to 1,370. Then we have our protein, which is 95 grams to 103. So this person actually weighed approximately 53 kilos. So if she's pretty much doubled her amount of protein, which is what I showed you, so around 2 grams to get that higher level. Then your carbohydrate, so 111 grams to 120 grams, and then your fat content, so 49 grams to 53. So what I did was, based on my little meal plan prep, so where you've got your plate, where you've got your protein source, your 2 cup of veg, and some kind of carbohydrate, that's how we're going to plan your lunch and your dinner. Then from there, you add your breakfast if you're having a light protein breakfast, and then you might have a snack later on. And I'll show you how hard it actually is to get to that high protein level. So you need to plan ahead. It also gives you a little bit of room to move around. So say, for example, you might have only hit 1,000 calories, but you've come home, you don't calculate all the oil you're using or anything like dressings or marinades you're using. So it gives you that buffer. Or you might come home and have a bit of dark chocolate and you have forgot to count it. So I always try and go a little bit under with my calories. So I do have that buffer room because obviously some sources are higher in calories and it's harder to calculate. Okay, so I've used MyFitnessPal. So we did discuss this on the night. It's free and it's super easy to use. So this is how I came up to help reach that person's goal. So down the bottom, you'll see total calories, so 1,307, and this is from eating all this food. And her goal was 1,370, so it's sort of in between. Protein was 95 grams to 103. For protein for her, I end up getting her right up to 111 grams, so it's probably a little bit too much, but give and take on actually how much salmon she's having, so you can reduce that. And the following day you might not have that much protein. So don't be so strict in making sure you're trying to hit that every day. The carbs, we got to 110 grams, and her carbs was 111 grams to 120. Again, depending on what your goal is. So if you've got any questions on what your nutrition came back with, just let me know. Then we had 48 grams of fat. So she did have a bit of a high fat content. So I've actually gone on the lower things. So she wanted to build muscle and tone up. So we've gone on sort of that lower end, so 49 grams. Okay, so how do you get to all of this? So you can see my measurements are quite close, but look how much kind of food. So here when people talk about macros, you can see it's like 34% protein. She has 30%. So we can reduce the amount of protein. For carbs, it's 33%. It's around 35. And then for fat, it's 33. So you can play around with it. And this is a really good tool to have. It's easier to use on your computer. Ignore this. This is my things on how much I needed to eat when I was marathon running. Okay, so let's start the day. So the day in the life of someone that's strong, you get up in the morning and you might go and do a workout. So you're going to do a 5:30 class in the morning. You're not having anything, so you're going on an empty stomach. You've done your class, you get home and you're going to have some breakfast. So you'll start your day with 2 boiled eggs, a piece of whole grain toast, and a quarter of an avocado. A quarter of an avocado. So you get that fat intake. So here you'll see your proteins around 17 grams, your carbohydrates 22, and your total calories is 303. Then you're going to keep going with your day. You'll have, you might have a coffee, so I haven't put that in there. Then you have your lunch. So you'll have 120 grams of chicken, which gives you around 35 grams of protein. You're going to have half a cup of roasted sweet potato. That will be your carbohydrate intake for the day. For your lunch meal. Then you have a cup of raw spinach, some cucumber, a bit of balsamic dressing. So that actually gets you only to 279 calories. The protein in here, though, should keep you really full and you'll feel quite content. Then we're off to dinner. So here you're going to have a Audi salmon, so 142 grams of salmon, which gives you 30 grams of protein, 274 of the carbohydrate. I actually had to add in some basmati rice in here for her. So I added half a cup and it was quite hard playing around with trying to get that carbohydrate up because we're using half a cup. So you're spreading your protein and your carbohydrates out. She's also got toast, but because she's exercising so much, she has higher amounts that she needs to achieve. So you can see how hard it is fiddling around and making sure. But as I said, if you focus on your lunch where you're having two big portions of, so you're having a portion of protein at lunch and a portion of protein of salmon, you already know you can kick that off with around 30 to 35 grams of protein in each plate. So then for breakfast, you can have a small amount of protein. And then for snacks, you can either have a banana or a protein smoothie, depending on how you feel that day. You might just have a cup of berries and some nuts for afternoon tea if you would like to increase your fat. So that's my suggestions. For dinner, I add some broccoli, some beans, some basmati rice. She might drizzle a little bit of dressing or something on there. But that's sort of how much food you actually need to reach 1,307 calories. So you can see that's a lot. If you're trying to reduce the amount of food you're having in exercise, what I would do, have a look on what's on your measurement, but what you would do is have these two, the lunch and the dinner, but then for breakfast, don't have that whole grain toast, just have boiled eggs and a bit of avocado, and then maybe in the afternoon you might have a yogurt or something. So that's how I would play around with your food. This is a really good tool. Just even if you track your food for 3 days, you actually see how much you're eating. Are you actually reaching that? What your plate looks like, you'll see that the lunch and the dinner plate really look like, you've got your half your veggies and then a quarter if you've got your carbohydrate and then a quarter for your protein. So I hope that's helpful. Please let me know if you've got any other questions around that. But that's how I would be setting up my food. I would try, if you can, try and eat between nothing after 7 p.m. so your body has time to rest and recover, and try not to sort of snack at night. That's sort of another little trick that I find helps with people when they're at the gym as well. And you don't want to be eating less than 2 hours before your bedtime, so you're getting that good night's sleep and time to recover. All right, bye.